Back at you with another one, and thank you for joining me in another preview video where Arsenal will be taking on Crystal Palace at the Emirates Stadium for another Premier League game. Before we get into the preview, there are certain things I want to discuss in terms of recent events at Arsenal. As we are aware, the January transfer window is open and there's not been any sort of incomings. However, there has been a few outgoings. As we know, the likes of Saliba has been out on a loan to Nice. We've got Sead Kolasinac being loaned out to Schalke. There's all sorts of talks that Mesut Ozil is very close to joining Fenerbahce and Socrates is on his way out. In terms of other recent events, there has been a few contract discussions, contract renewal, like for example Rob Holden, as we'll look into first. So Arsenal did announce that Rob Holden has signed on a 4-year contract where he will be on about, I believe, £37,000 a week. Now, am I against this signing? No, I'm not, because I think Rob Holden could prove to be a decent squad player. And he is homegrown after all as well. With all the Brexit stuff coming in, it will be more difficult trying to bring in foreign players. So we might as well utilise the homegrown that we have in-house. But the issue I do have with this is, not that long ago, he was very, very close to being loaned out to Newcastle United. So how did you go from almost walking out the door to joining Newcastle United to somehow managing a contract extension? Not only is it a contract extension, and I'm hearing all Arsenal fans, and as I said, he will prove to be a decent squad player. Yeah? Emphasis on squad player. But reality is, he's not really a squad player, is he? He starts every game. And that's the issue I have. I do not want to see Rob Holding start. As a squad player, yes, I do not mind. As a starter, no. Take that away from me. No, I don't want that. And it's not only just the whole Holding situation that really bothers me. We also heard talks about Arteta sort of admitting that the signing of Runnison was a bit of a mistake. They were rushed into it. Now, the reason I have a massive about all of this is because this is meant to be part of this process I'm told to believe in, to buy into. This process that almost signed Houssem Aouar in the summer just for them to release a dossier last week or 2 weeks ago saying that actually in terms of profile he would not have been perfect for us. So why did you spend all summer chasing him to the point where you were on the verge of signing him to then say actually no, his attitude, the way he plays doesn't suit us? Okay, then you move on to Dominic Szoboszlai. Don't get that sorted out. Yeah, cool. Then I'm hearing Buendia. Now it's Solomon. Do they know what's going on? Do they know what's going on? From the day Martinez said, either I'm number one or I want respectfully to leave the club, at that point in time, you should have listed, your targets of goalkeepers. And you know that saying, you buy cheap, you buy twice. Now the situation we have is, they want Runnison out. But who's going to take Runnison on 40k a week? Oh, and if that's not bad, this is the same manager that sat here and saying that we can't sell Eddie Nketiah. This is what he was saying towards last week when he was asked about in a press conference whether Eddie will go to West Ham due to the rumours by the press. And he said, no, we do not have any intention of getting rid of Eddie. He is part of our future. But the whole world can see Balogun has a higher ceiling. It's like, oh, this is why I don't trust this process. We have a inept manager and an inept director in Edu. Both of them might as well fucking star in a new movie, Dumb and Dumber. That should be the, remake of Dumb and Dumber. You've got these two clowns. They just don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And I saw this this little tweet out by Fabrizio Romano today, actually, where, or was it yesterday? Apologies. He says Florin Balogun has received more than 15 bids as a free agent for next summer. His contract situation with Arsenal is stalling, still complicated because he wants to play. RB Leipzig have not made an official bid to sign Balogun as of today, because there were rumours that Leipzig had put down a contract and it was accepted by Balogun and his party. You know what? And for all these idiots saying that, oh, Balogun, we should freeze him out because he doesn't want to sign, he doesn't want to stay, mate. The issue is, yeah, Balogun he wants to be the best. Yes, he's a bit ambitious, but we like that. We want players to aspire to be the best. We don't want a player who's content with, you know, sort of sat back in the benches. It's just you can't win with Arsenal fans. If we have a player that's very driven, motivated, wants to play every game, we say, oh, he's so fussy, he thinks he's too carried away, his ego. Then when we had players like Ozil, who just never really made it to away matches up north of England, we were like, oh, fragile, useless, doesn't play for the badge. Make up your mind, guys. What is it? What is it? I'd rather have a player like Balogun who wants to play, who wants to be the best. You know, and then when I'm hearing stuff about Eddie, mate, there's a reason why, yeah, younger players have played less games in the under-23s and have been promoted to the senior setup before Eddie. There is a reason. There is a reason that nobody really wants him. But then Arteta he just sees Eddie as this star boy. He just feels like he can't. It's like Arteta can't really sort of say no to his favourite players. Certain players, very cutthroat. Other players, he's very nice, ain't he? Yeah, he's too nice. And then we're hearing also discussions about another clown who's apparently staying. Another clown. Yeah. So these are quotes, Arteta or Mustafi. His future right now is here. We have Papa that probably is going to leave the window. William Saliba, who has already gone on loan. So we don't have that many right now. Gabby's been out now for a period. David has been injured, so the situation is different to before. Okay, centre backs. Pablo Mari, yep. Gabriel Magalhaes, yep. David Luiz, yep. Callum Chambers, yep. Rob Holden. That's 5. Don't get it. Why do we need more? If we are playing with this new system, yeah, with two centre backs, why do we need more than 5 with half the season remaining? Fucking hell, he's dumb. Moving on to you know what? Let's just look into the preview because I just can't be asked. I'm just very, 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 very concerned for the future of this club. You just have two guys who, in terms of what they're doing, they have no idea. They just literally just going with the flow. You know, what should we do? Let's wing it. Mikel Arteta and fucking Edu just remind me of those guys who all year never studied for the exam, just couldn't be asked. And then the day before the exam, they try cramming information, and then on the day they're like, fuck it, let's wing it. Yeah, we're just winging our season. That's the way I see it. Anyways, before we look at the Crystal Palace game, let's look at the table. As you can see, we're sat 11th. Hooray! We're sat 11th in January. Yeah, this is why I supported Arsenal, so we could be a mid-table team. And not far behind us, just a point behind us, it's Crystal Palace. So a victory for Crystal Palace will take him above us. And a victory for us, and that's if we win by more than 2 goals and West Ham lose, we could potentially be, we'll be 10th. There's no way we're going to catch up Chelsea with goal difference. Are you seeing that? They got 11 to our +1. That's 10. No. So yeah, potentially we might leapfrog West Ham. As for Chelsea, that's very unrealistic. Usually whenever we play Crystal Palace, there's always the whole discussion of Zaha. Did we make the wrong approach by approaching Nicolas Pepe instead of opting for Wilfried Zaha. At the time, I thought Pepe was a better option. I mean, after all, if you sort of saw what he did for Lille, not only that season, but the season prior to that, and then also factoring in his age, also factoring in that Crystal Palace wanted sort of 70 mil up front. I mean, Nicolas Pepe was an easy option. But hindsight is a wonderful thing. And would we be better off with Wilfried Zaha? Absolutely. Do I feel like Nicolas Pepe has been a flop? Absolutely. But at the same time, I do think the fans' treatment of Nicolas Pepe is very harsh. He never put that price tag on his head. He, at the same time, has never been given a consistent run of games. And you might say, oh, but he doesn't warrant it. To a certain extent, I agree. But then where was the same energy for Granit Xhaka when he was failing week after week? Where was the same energy for when Olivier Giroud wasn't banging in goals? Where was the same energy from all these other players? All these other players have come in and they flopped and they've yet somehow been given, you know, continuous games after game. But yet Pepe doesn't. Do I think it's, you know, time to part ways? Yes. Do I think that's a bit harsh? Of course it is. But reality is he hasn't lived up to the hype. And I'm not saying he should live up to 72 million worth of a player, because he didn't put that price tag on his head. Yes, there were some dodgy dealings which inflated his actual price, and we all know that a certain someone had to leave the club because of that whole transfer embargo with Pepe. So I can't really blame Nicolas Pepe on the whole situation, but he hasn't helped himself either. And that takes us on nicely to the predicted lineup for tomorrow's game. And I've only done one lineup, and that's because there's not much of a difference between Arteta's team and the team I would have played. You see, I can agree with Arteta at times, but the reason why I want him out is because I agree with him on maybe things about that much, whereas I disagree on about that much stuff. Hence why it's, you know, Arteta out for me. So do I think if he was to leave after or even before tonight's game, would I feel any sort of way? Absolutely not. If we appointed Allegri, I'm actually be excited. So with that said, let's get on to the lineup. So in goal, obviously Bernd Leno. Do we really have anyone else? Nah. So Bernd Leno in goal for me. Right back, Hector Bellerin, and that's what Arteta would go with. I would go with Ainsley, and I think that's the only difference between Arteta's team and the team I'd go with. So as I said, I'd go with Ainsley, whereas Arteta would go with Bellerin. In terms of the defence, Luiz and Marie, and I know Gabriel is back, but I have this ideology where I feel as if you need to fight and get your spot back. You can't just walk back into the team, and that's why I wasn't too pleased with the whole Leno Martinez situation. I thought Leno needed to go in and fight for his spot. He shouldn't have just walked into it on, you know, Community Shield game and then on the first game of the season against Fulham. Absolutely. So for me, Marie hasn't done too much wrong. Do I think he's better than Gabriel Magalhaes? No. Hell no. No way near. I think Gabriel Magalhaes is better for me, but as I said, on merit, you have to play Pablo Marie. Kieran Tierney, I don't need to say anything. My captain, left back. Moving on to midfield, Granit Xhaka had a decent game when he came on against Newcastle United, and that's why he's in. Ceballos, I thought the last league game played pretty well against West Brom. Smith Rowe makes the difference. So he seems like ever since he's gone into the team, things have just, you know, changed. We look like more progressive going forward. And it's just a shame that Arteta didn't realise what he had at his disposal until he was forced into that switch and bringing in Emil Smith Rowe. And this is another reason why, add that onto the list of reasons why I don't trust Arteta and I don't trust this fake process that we're embarking on. Nah, you don't fool me, man. Moving on to the attackers, we spoke often about Nicolas Pepe, and the issue is I think Pepe would suit. And I haven't seen Pepe play with the likes of Smith Rowe and the youngsters in this sub. And I think he would play so much better. But can you really play him ahead of Saka? No. Can you play him ahead of Aubameyang? Yes. Overall, against the game against Newcastle, I thought Pepe played better than Oba. But the difference is Oba got that goal in the second half of extra time. And I want to sort of continue that confidence momentum. So I don't want to ruin Aubameyang by taking him off the squad. So Aubameyang stays in on the left-hand side for me. And Lacazette, just because he's been in fine form and you can't really take the guy out the squad. In terms of my prediction, I'm going to go with a 2-1 win. And I genuinely do think this will be our hardest game that we will play in terms of our last 4 victories, and that was West Brom, that was Brighton, Chelsea and Newcastle. I think this will be our toughest opponent, and that's because not only can they sort of sit back and soak up the pressure, but they have very dangerous players in Eze and Wilfred Zaha, who can take the ball on these counter-attacking situations and press us and either win a penalty or score a goal. So this will be very, very, very tough, and I expect this to be our toughest game, and hence why a part of me will not be surprised if Palace actually do nick the game. But I'm going to have to back my team, and I'm going to say a 2-1 win. If you could please let me know what your predictions are, and if you sort of agree with the lineup that I've proposed, that I've sort of agreed with Arteta in terms of this is the lineup I would play with the exception of Bellerin. Other than that, please like, subscribe, and thank you so much for listening. All the best.